guys. Welcome to Jim and Ursula TV. Now, the first thing you have to notice is that we are not what? We're not riding. We're not in the car. We're not in his work truck. We are actually at home in our little studio that's specifically or especially for this. Alright, so of course you know by now I am Ursula Thomas, and of course
I'm Jim Thomas.
yeah, he Jim Thomas. And so we just wanted to pop on, guys, and just sit down and have a little chit chat. This is our first time actually sitting down here to record, so we are excited about that. And we are just going to, I guess, start with a topic. Like I said, please, guys, like, share, subscribe, hit that button. Leave us some feedback down below so we'll kind of know what you might want to hear, what area you might want to go in, what interests you, what you want to know about us, Yeah. And we don't mind sharing because this truly is for the benefit of God's people. And we already told you that this channel is all about relationship. Yes, it was founded on husband and wife relationship, but because we are relationship people, we have relationships with any and everybody. And we can take the same principles that we use on relationships outside of marriage. We can take those same principles and use them on the inside of marriage to teach us how really to grow with people, to even for lack of a better word, I'll say tolerate. But really what we do, we condition our hearts to accept people where they are. So we'll say, I tolerate them. But really what you're doing is you're conditioning your heart and your mind to accept people for where they are, because nobody's on the same level. Husband and wives are not on the same level. Church members not on the same level. Your friend, even though that might be your girl, your boy, 9 times 10 they might not be on the exact same level you are. So y'all gonna have some kind of differences. That don't mean y'all don't groove and y'all have some of the same familiar opinions, but that don't necessarily mean you might be on the same spiritual level, financial level, emotional level, all of those levels. So you really, when you say I'm just tolerant, you really just learning to meet people and accept people where they are. And I think the prime example of that, I would say, was Jesus. Jesus was amazing at meeting people where they are and then calling them up. That's the key element, is meeting them where they are and then calling them up. You don't meet them where they are and leave them there. You challenge them, but the way we challenge, and we talked about this in a prior video, the way we challenge, I might try to leave it in the cards if I remember, but the way we challenge them is we don't let them stay there.
Oh no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Right or wrong?
Oh, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. If you're really challenging someone, it don't even have to be the one that you feel like that you love. It don't even have to be the one that you respect. But when you truly challenge someone, it's gonna take them out of their comfort zone. And one thing that we don't want to challenge people, because it'll take us out of our comfort zone. It might even be to the point where we have to actually shut our mouth and truly listen to what they are really saying. Even if we find that the content that's coming out of them, it might be vulgar. It might even come in the form of cussing and disrespect and anger and rage. But we have to begin to able to meet people where they're at. Because like I said, people are on different levels. Physically, spiritually, socially, financially. And those are some of the key graphics of areas that we want to just share on dealing with people, and at the same time, not only dealing with people, but putting yourself in a place where you can heal even more. Because you can get around people that are really raw, and they can actually help heal you and can actually help you see some of the stuff that's in you that you wouldn't normally see. Or let's be honest with myself. Can I diagnose myself honestly?
I think one of the amazing things that God does for us in our relationship is He allows us. First of all, let me say this. I thank God because God has allowed my husband to really be patient with me in a lot of areas, and I really appreciate that. And I can honestly say this, that I've told you guys this before, that actually our vehicle, no matter what vehicle we are in, is truly like a worship station for us. It's a counseling session for us. It's a healing session for us. It's a deliverance session for us. Because when we get in that vehicle, and what he knows that one of my just things that I absolutely love to do that brings me so much peace and so much joy and so much freedom is when we get up, and it has to be early in the morning. I'll take a little later, but it's something about daybreak. It's something about when the sun is setting and it still have that little darkness to it. It's something about getting up with him early in the morning and going to get that cup of coffee. And yes, I do have a coffee machine, but it's something about going to get that cup of coffee and riding and enjoying that cup of coffee and feeling the peace of God. And it's like he just hoovered over not only us, but the city. And we have learned to just ride and talk. And we have had some very meaningful conversations like that. That's God visit us there, because you have to remember, he said, where two or more are gathered together. And I love how somebody said, I can't remember who said, but they said that two or more is, hey, you and the Holy Ghost. If it's you and the Holy Ghost talking, then guess what? God is in the midst. And so in doing that today, one of our conversations fell upon trust. And I'm trying to link it in the cards, because we have talked about trust before. So I'm trying to link it in the cards so you can go back and revisit that if you haven't seen it already. But one of our conversations ended up talking about trust. And I was telling him that I have learned about me in life. And one of the things I shared is, even at the age I am now, that I'm still learning. I'm still learning about me, and I'm still learning to accept things about me. And I was telling him, and I was sharing with him that, you know, I've had two major relationships in my life. And as far as boyfriend and girlfriend. And I was sharing with him that I've never been a person that had a trust issue. And what I mean by that is, I've never been a person that I had to check your phone. I need to know who you're talking to. I need to know what time you left the office, what time you left work. I need to know where you say you going, who you going with. I've never been that person, because I've always, even as a young woman, I always had the mindset that if I had to do all of that, it wasn't worthwhile. Because I always felt like, and that's proven to be true, I always felt like if it was something going on, I don't have to look for it, it'll show itself. So I've never been a person that was like, you know, let me see your phone, where you been, who you been talking to, yada yada yada. That was never my get up. So, and I was sharing with him that has never been my issue. And sometimes we think that trust, or trusting someone, a friend, your partner, your husband, your wife, whomsoever, sometimes we think it could be trust issue. But I have learned that in reality, you are really dealing with fear. You are fearful of this, that, or this could happen, or that could happen, or what if this happened, or how would this look? So it's really not trust issues that sometimes we're dealing with. We're dealing with fear, especially if we've been hurt. And that's why it's so important to really allow yourself to feel and go through all of your emotions. But in the end, we have to cry out and give that hurt and those emotions to God, so we won't just stay there. And it's not an overnight thing. I know a lot of times people have taught, and we probably even have shared that, you know, just give it to God. You know, just give it to God. And true, you do have to give it to God. And I shared with my husband before, one time when I was really going through something major, and I was saying, God, take it away, take it away. You know, I don't want this pain. And he spoke to me just like I'm talking to you guys, and he said, how can I take it if you won't give it? Because I was saying, Lord, take it. But in retrospect, I was still holding it. I wasn't giving it to him. I was telling him to take it. And we know God is not going to take anything from us, because we have free will. He wants us to give it to him. Because if we just or want him to take it, we won't go through the journey of the healing process. And the best thing you can do is go through that journey, go through that walk, go through that. I always think in retrospect of like losing weight. If you go to bed one size, let's say you go to bed and you 200 pounds and you wake up and you're 150 pounds. Well, you haven't went through the journey, so you can't appreciate the work. You can't appreciate the effort. You can't appreciate the time. It's no appreciation there for how you got from here to here. But when you see God in the midst of it, and when you know that you was hurting, and you know that God has delivered a lot of that hurt from you, and you know that it's been a process, and you know, okay, well, right here it's not a sore spot anymore. Right here it's not a sore spot anymore, right? You can truly appreciate the journey of healing that God has allowed you to be, I guess you said, to go through and to be healed from, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also the other thing is that being vulnerable. It's very difficult sometimes to be very truthful and transparent. And I hear that statement over and over with people. Man, people give so many interviews, and especially in the church. I want to be so transparent. But in the process of them being transparent, who were some of the people that really came in to help you, to aid you, to teach you, to show you? Because why? There's certain people when we're hurting, we ain't gonna let in. I ain't gonna let Sister Sue know how I feel. I ain't gonna let this other lady know how I feel, because if she know my business, she gonna take it back out of the streets. So now guess what? I'm holding back. So how can I really be truthful to myself? Because I'm still so vulnerable, because I don't want nobody else to know my hurts, my pain,
And you know, I can remember my husband saying one time, he said that a lot of times we'll say, because we feel like it sounds good, we'll say, you know, I'm very transparent. I'm very transparent. I'm very transparent. And sometimes things become like cliche, especially in the church, and we hear stuff over and over again. But one of the things he said that really, I had to listen to what he was saying, and I thought about what he was saying. He was like, what about being face to face?
Those face-to-face issues are really, they are really something else. And, you know, they get really descriptive. When you find people who may be into sexual sin, and, you know, they tell people how they feel, you know, no one wants to talk about that. I mean, point blank, you know, how is it that I can tell my girlfriend that I was in sexual sin, but I was doing threesomes and foursomes, and I was doing all sorts of other stuff. Now, see, that's that face-to-face stuff. We don't want to deal with that right there. You know what I'm saying? So in retrospect, we're really not getting the fullness thereof what need to come out of us.
I think one of the ways I like how he was telling me about it, he explained it to me, he was like he said, transparency, you might say, yeah, I was doing that. But when it comes face to face, it's like, transparency is like you share what you want to share. But face to face is like you have to share stuff that hits you right then and there. Face to face that you might not want to be so transparent about at that moment.
Yeah, that in-depthness and stuff, and especially when I'm dealing with brothers and stuff, and they talk about sexual sins. Even some of the young men who's dealing with their sexuality. What do you mean? What are you saying? Can you tell me the first time that you know as a young child that what took place? And the graphicness of it. And then there's so much other stuff started coming out. So, oh my goodness, didn't know that. So face-to-face issues, beginning to pull stuff up that's really in you out to help you see yourself. And to know that even, I will give an example and I will say this. And I told the young man, I said, hey, it's not your fault.
I think next time, I don't know if I shared this before. I have to go back and look, you know. But I think next time I really want us to delve off into the power of words.
Yes.
how powerful your words are and how they can direct your marriage, your life, your relationships. And I think we're going to start breaking off and maybe going off into things like that, because in order to really heal, and it seems so, it might seem a little backwards, but in order to really heal, the process is not only working on it, but what you're saying. So when the Bible tells us to call those things that's not as though they are, it seems a little backwards, because when you're going through and hurting, who wants to get up and say, hey, I'm delivered, I'm healed, and I'm set free, and today is a new day? You know, sometimes you really just want to have that time where you feel like, I don't want to do that. If I'm hurting, I want to say I'm hurting. If I'm this, I want to say it. I'm this, I want to say it. And see.
And that's just like also, you know, sometimes people they don't want a spiritual response. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they don't even want a surface response. Sometimes they just want to be heard.
They just want to vent.
Just want to vent. And that's the part where I've had to learn and pull down my mantle of quote unquote being so spiritual and God is able, God is in control, it's not your fault. But to the point where, hey, wow, I can feel it, I can see that.
So I don't have anything else. We really just want to get back in the groove of coming back and talking to you guys, and you guys getting back used to seeing us and hearing us. And hey, like I said, like, share, subscribe. We are Jim and Ursula TV.
And please write some comments.
Please.
Hey, we want feedback. Give us feedback. And your feedback grows us.
That's right.
It helps us. It helps us to keep out of day-to-day error.
It really does. And we just really want to show you that in this life, especially when God said, bone of my bone, rib of my rib, flesh of my flesh, all this good stuff.
That's a good stuff.
That two really can become one. Love you guys.